A Northeast High School football coaching legend is retiring after the season. Chuck Kyle of Saint Ignatius has been on the sidelines for 40 years. And tomorrow, it's his last regular season game.
Jimmy spent some time with Coach Kyle reflecting on what a career and journey it's been coaching the Wildcats. He joins us now as we celebrate Coach Kyle, Jim.
Laura and Russ, I have to tell you, I spent a lot of days with Chuck Kyle. One of my favorite assignments every week was to get a camera guy, and we go over to West 25th Street and we visit on the campus of Saint Ignatius High School over at Wasmer Field, visit with the Wildcats of Ignatius, but most of all, to visit with their great head coach, Chuck Kyle. This was an interview I really never wanted to have to do. To have to do the interview with Chuck Kyle when he was wrapping up his just magnificent coaching career. 40 years as the head coach at Ignatius, 11 state championships, 3 national titles. What an effect he's had on high school football and on young men who played for him. Because you can ask his players, what was the greatest thrill at St. Ignatius? It was to play for Chuck Kyle. What would be your wish for your son? That he played for Chuck Kyle. What a legacy.
You were a student at St. Ignatius. You were an athlete at St. Ignatius. You were a teacher at St. Ignatius. You're a coach at St. Ignatius.
I never looked at this as a career. I just didn't. You know, careers, you kind of bounce around and you do that sort of thing. I looked at this as a vocation. And to me, a vocation is in here. You know, I wanted to teach, I wanted to coach, and I wanted to do this at St. Ignatius. This is where I felt so comfortable. And for me, it was a vocation. Yeah. How's that?
There was a point where, you know, there were kids that would go to Ignatius, and through their years, they would never have experienced a loss. There were kids that went to Ignatius that every year their football team won the state championship. What was that like, going into those games? And you're always the favorite.
Truly a realization, and mentioned this before, that you can lose to any of these teams, first of all, because they spent 365 days, previous days, getting ready for you. Yeah. You know, they didn't just wait for the day before. And so there's that realization that you're going to get their best. They're going to come after you. So, and there'd be special emotion because the idea of rivalry, right, would be connected with that. But I just wanted to make sure that they felt like they were the best football player in the state of Ohio. And, you know, when you were a little kid and you're out in the backyard and you throw a ball up in the air and you catch it and you run around, just be that kid, okay? Go out there and do that. Yeah. Be that kind of player. That's all. They have to walk out of there going, here we go, let's go play.
They are in your way. They're in your way. But you made a bigger commitment than they have. They don't know what kind of commitment you make. They don't know the work you put in. And now it's here. Be state champions. Be state champions. Be state champions. Let's go!
Why didn't you leave? You had offers, didn't you? And did you ever come real close?
I get down from my English class, and this athletic secretary hands me, would you call this man back Mr. Lou Holtz? Sure. But what am I thinking? I'm thinking, oh, well, he wants to talk about some, you know, kids on our team, stuff like that. That happens all the time, you know. Did you do that? Well, hi, Kyle. And then he goes, well, Chuck, I'm calling about you. You know, we have some coaches openings, and we'd like for you to interview, come and interview for it if you'd be interested in doing it. I got up that morning. I didn't know what was going on. I was going to teach. I'm teaching my English class, and I'm coaching football. I never had that in my mind at all. And I'm in shock, and I go, Coach, I've never thought about this at all. Understand that you're probably going to move your family 10 to 12 times. And you make this move, that means you're a position coach, and now you are just staying up with wheeled crazy hours and running all over the country and to become a coordinator. And then the next thing you got to work for is trying to be a head coach, and you are running all over the country and moving your family all over the country. And right then I knew I'm not doing it. There's no way I'm doing that. No. There's someone that works for Channel 3 named Maureen Kyle. She would have not been in favor of that one, right? But not just Mo, but my wife, because they wouldn't want to do that. And I'm not going to get talked out of what I always wanted to do.
Right.
Jim, I wouldn't trade a second of my life right now.
Well, that's,
No.
let me tell you, not many can say that.
No, I wouldn't.
So, wow. Tomorrow night, it will be his last regular season game. One more run for the Wildcats with Chuck Kyle. They won a lot, but they won with such class because of him. One of the closing lines in their alma mater is, be an Ignatius man forever. And Chuck Kyle is definitely that. Russ?
Wow, fabulous interview, fabulous guy. Jimmy, thanks so much. We'll see you in a bit.
Okay.